Black and Powerful is brought to you by the Black McDonald's Operators Association.
Her legacy is deeply rooted in Chicago, the leading force behind the city's Black talk radio station. She's been in the business for decades. A top media executive, author, and mentor, dedicated to uplifting and educating her community. Our guest, Melody Spann Cooper, Black and Powerful. Melody Spann Cooper.
Yes, Evelyn Holmes.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yes. So we here. It's a great opportunity to talk with you.
Yeah.
Because I think that you are one of the most influential, knowledgeable. You are giving, loving, nurturing, and I love the way you do it because you do it kind of on the QT, right? A lot of folks don't know all of what you do, but you do a lot.
Yes.
But I think folks most associate you with WVON Radio.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I guess my first thing my first question or what I would want to know is WVON your daddy's radio, or did you elevate it to something different? I mean, it's changed a lot.
Yeah, it has. It's evolved. It really has. You know, when you have a property that's been around nearly 60 years, right? 60 years. And so I'm challenged always with making something that old new again. I'm up for the challenge, you know, but more so than it being representative of where it started as the voice of the Negro. Mm-hmm. It evolves as Chicago evolves, as Chicago's Black community evolves. My dad always said that if you ever steer off course, get back to your core. And the core has always been WVON, the voice of the Negro. Mm-hmm. And while we've evolved from Negro to Black to African American to Black again, it's always been this voice for Black Chicago, vibrant Black Chicago. And so it tells its own story. WVON is the essential storyteller of Black culture in this rich city. That's what it is.
And been essential because when mainstream media, so to speak, wasn't covering certain topics, WVON was. And I guess I would be concerned really now, just in light of media, how have you been able to navigate and survive being a Black radio, Black talk? Yeah. How do you connect with this new listener? How do you talk about the different topics that come up that I guess maybe they're not different, maybe they're just cyclical?
Yeah, and you're right, because I think the more things change, the more they kind of stay the same. So when you think about, you know, the focus around social justice now because of George Floyd, many people look at this like, wow, like this is a new awakening. We've been in this space all the time. This is not a moment for us. This is a movement, right? Yeah. And it's a movement that's been going on since, I mean, we've been here, right? And when you see, not just in Chicago, I think our impact and the voice that we allow people to have very freely goes beyond just Chicago. It is the station that people look to all across the country, right? For opinion on Black. It's that authentic voice that this station offers. And not many cities are fortunate to have a talk radio station that is specifically geared toward the Black community. But it speaks to, like I said, how vibrant this city is and deeply rooted it is in Black culture. And while, you know, we've suffered a black eye of late, you know, there's a lot of things going on, and we both grew up here, you know, that you might not approve of, but overall, it's still a big, kind, loving, robust community. And that's the story that we want to continue to tell.
How have you been able to survive being a Black talk radio station? You see the consolidation, you see the big boys coming in, buying up everything, changing kind of the landscape and really the voice of some of this authentic African American, Black, Negro, whatever you want to call it. How have you been able to navigate
Well, see, that's why ownership is important. Because, you know, I'm true to it, and so I'm going to tell a different story that never gets old. I'm going to find a way. But I'm going to be honest, too. In Chicago, I'm here because we're in Chicago. Chicago's a great town. It embraces its institutions. It's legacy companies, right? And it's just been so good. It's valued our what we've contributed in such a great way. And if it wasn't for the corporate community, really in Chicago, I wouldn't be here. They know the value of the station and they respect it because they understand that this company, Midway Broadcasting, is about more than radio.
Yes.
We're not selling radio. We're selling community. And people have a need to reach our community. Companies find value in this community. And because they do, they make investment. You know, they make an investment that will allow us to employ 43 people and to talk to not just the VON listeners, right? We've got a Latino station now, WRLL, where we're attempting to build kind of that same platform as they thrive and grow in this city. So they'll have a voice to talk about, you know, things that are important to them. And then, you know, recently we got an OTT digital platform. And so I don't want to be a person who, you know, I love VON as a flagship and it's been important, but, you know, in order for us to grow, we have to grow.
Yes.
This company has to grow. Yeah. It has to be beyond that where my father worked and then went on to own it. It's just got to prosper. And I'm excited about delivering that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was this always something that you decided you were going to do? Is this what your father expected you to do? Yeah. Did you fight it? Did you say, you know what, I'm going to go somewhere and be a fashion designer or an auto mechanic or something other than this? I don't want, because, you know, a lot of times when the parents achieve something, they want the kids to come in and take it over. And the kids are like, I'm not trying to do that.
Absolutely,
was that you?
They do. It was me. You have my job and my paycheck, Evelyn. I wanted to be in journalism.
We can switch if you like. But you're smarter than me, so this place would be in big trouble.
No, not at all.
I've managed to fool them for 20-some years, but, you know, I don't know.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to go into journalism. And that's where you and I met. You remember many moons ago.
Yes.
My dad, though, he was determined. And it's surprising that it's four of us. I have I have three other brothers and sisters. I was the only one who, you know, really took to the entrepreneurship that my dad established for us. But I tell families this all the time because it is normal for when somebody is large and loomed as large as my dad did for them to want their children to carry on. All children are not meant to do this. Right. I mean, it's a blessing, but it's also at times a burden, right? Yeah. And so I respect my brothers and sisters for maybe not wanting to get into it, but I don't regret it for one day. I absolutely have the best life. I mean, to be as engaged as I am in this city, right? Yeah. And not just in communications or media, but civically. Yes. You know, it's and it's all related back to this, right? And so I feel honored to do that. But my best advice for people who have children and they have, you know, big businesses or business, you know, let your young people decide. And what will happen is typically they'll come back around to it, right? Mm-hmm. But I know so many families, and between those generations, Evelyn, there's a lot of tit for tat. Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, it's a difficult dance. Yeah, absolutely. It is. My dad and I had many blow-ups around it, right?
I bet.
Yeah.
And he was very colorful for folks that don't know. He was, I mean, he had quite the huge personality.
Yes, he did.
I mean, he loomed large. I mean, he literally walked in a room and people were like, oh, you know.
Yes, he
it's
did.
The same thing. You do the same thing.
Oh, wow.
It's true.
That's nice of you to say that.
But it's true. It's true. It's true. You know, it's. I've known you. Listen, I don't want to say a lot of years because that means we're old.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna let you have that part.
Okay. So the old part. It's my turn. It's my week.
It's your week,
my week
right?
For the old. Okay, got
absolutely.
That. You know, was there some beyond the numerous experiences that you've had? Is there one thing that you think defined you as a person of color that drove you and continues to drive you to that goal?
Yeah. You know, I don't know if it's one thing. I think it's evolving. You know, when Michelle Obama named her book Becoming, and people are like, Becoming, I get it now. Because it's not one thing, it's a culmination of things. And then you get to this point, Evelyn, when you say, aha, I get it. I get what all of that was about and why it happened just that way.
Yeah.
And when you arrive at that space, you don't stop evolving. You're just so more confident in it. You know who you are. You are fully represented. And I think that's a powerful space to be in. It's the reason we always talk about, you know, God gives you youth and then wisdom, right?
Yeah.
And my girlfriends and I often say, you know, would you rather be 28 or would you rather be, you know, 58, right? I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm
You're like, hey, let me in. Let me in.
But I know now I'd rather be who I am right now in the fullness of my wisdom and understanding, because it's where I show up best, right? There's so much value in reaching that part of your career and showing up fully. Because I show up fully, I can enhance every space that I'm in confidently because I've seen enough. I know enough, I'm confident enough. It doesn't mean I don't make mistakes, but I even own them better, you know?
Yeah.
So there is great value in getting older with wisdom and learning, you know? So I embrace it. I really do. This is a great time in my life and what we're doing at this company, you know, when you see the diversity and inclusion of it. That has helped me grow as well, you know, and to explore different communities and just different parts of this business. Just, you know, it just gives me more energy because I've been working here since I was 15 years old, right? And so I have to recreate to stay engaged. I mean, many people would check out by now. They'll be like, you know what, there would be no growth. There would be no desire to do anything else. I love it. I wake up every day with a new challenge.
When we talk about generational wealth, we talk about legacy. You represent that, and you're working to try to create that in other ways. You know, and you talk about Michelle Obama's book. Didn't you write a little ditty, a couple pieces? Didn't you talk? I remember hearing some talk about somebody writing something down.
I did.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. You know, I wrote a book, The Girlfriend's Guide to Closing the Deal. And I was able to write that because I'd reached a point in my life where I had a story to tell. Everybody has a story to tell. But being a woman in this industry, oftentimes broadcasting is very male dominated. And so I have the privilege, and I do call it a privilege, to sit at tables with a lot of people who just have so much insight. And oftentimes they're white men, some white women, but only me, you know, and that's the unfortunate part. And so what I'm really doing is trying to turn up in every avenue I can to usher more African American women into C-suites, into boardrooms, into important tables, not because they need to be there because they're Black women, because what we bring to the conversation is so rich and allows it to change and allows it to be received differently, and to be valued, you know. And I love young entrepreneurs. I do a cohort and haven't shared this with anybody, not even my closest friends. Every Saturday morning I get up to teach young entrepreneur women, you know, on a virtual call, just feeding into them things that they should know that will help them grow their business, right? I think that's important because entrepreneurship is lonely. It really is. You know, I look at them and they're so dynamic. And most of their friends work, you know, they work a 9-to-5 job and they're raising their kids. But what's keeping these young ladies up at night, right? Am I going to make payroll? How am I going to scale this business up? Can I get a loan to expand this business? They don't have a lot of people to talk to about that. I didn't. And so I'm trying to provide a safe space for them, you know, for them to get to know one another, to be able to support one another and to grow and to, you know, have a different experience because I walked that mile, you know. And so I think if more of us do that, you know, the world becomes a better place. And and when people are more successful in the things that they want to pursue, because they had that person there to help guide them that walked. And I talk about that in the book, in my experience. I talk about, if I knew at 30 when I was green and sitting at the table with all of these important presidents and general managers of these stations in the third largest market, if I had my confidence and knew who I really was, what I would have been able to contribute, and so I just give soft skills and advice on how women and men can get there.
These are kind of off the wall kind of thoughts I had.
That's
But
fine.
you've known me for a long time, so that's not uncommon with me.
I love you for
What
that.
what is you think the biggest misconception about you, and what is the one thing nobody really knows about you? Like what you like, or what your really thoughts are, or a moment
love
that you
that.
had. I'm just curious because I think that gives insight into who you are and how you continue to grow.
Yeah. The biggest thing that a person would be surprised is that I'm shy.
Yeah,
I'm shy.
I am too.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Isn't that
And we
amazing?
have these jobs.
Yeah.
But we're shy and relatively quiet. In that I've got this outgoing personality, but my biggest joy is home alone, cooking, watching TV, just, not being in the world. The other thing about Chicago is it keeps you busy.
It does.
You're on a perpetual treadmill here. It's
Yeah.
like, when does it stop?
And
Right?
it doesn't. it doesn't. Yeah. Well, and I think too, when people talk about being an introvert, it's really about where you get your energy from.
Yeah.
So some people get their energy from out there,
Yeah.
and some people get their energy from in here.
Yeah. I'm in
and
here.
that, and I see that. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. People think of you as this, huge, corporate president
Yeah.
type, and I mean, you're very approachable because you're
Yeah.
real, because you've been afforded those
Yeah.
experiences, because experience will make you real.
It will.
It will give you the tools that you need to be able to navigate.
Yeah.
And that's what people
And then my
oftentimes
parents,
don't.
My parents taught me that.
Yeah.
They always said that they wanted us to treat the prisoner as well as we do the president.
Yes.
So there were no big me's and little u's. And when we grew up, we always had lots of people in our home, whether they were entertainers or just my friends, and we had an open house. And I think that was a tremendous balance that, my father, I could have lived a life of great privilege because of who he was in the world.
Yes.
But we were always just ordinary people, and taught to respect. That's who we are and who we shall always be, and that everybody deserves the same amount of respect.
Yeah.
And so if my assistant, if I'm going downstairs and I'll say, you want me to bring you, do you
Right.
want lunch?
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no
No,
only
no, right.
servitude
Right,
here, right?
right,
And
right.
I love that so much. And I think that's what people receive from me, is the essence of me is just, down to earth, cool and comfortable.
What do you want? What do you hope? We talk about being old, but we don't want to be old.
No, that's okay.
What do you hope your legacy is? What do you hope people can say, well, Melanie Spann Cooper, boy, she did it.
Yeah.
It was here and she took it to this level.
Yeah.
What do you hope they say?
I hope they say that she was a really great businesswoman who never lost sight of her community. That I really understood how to do both well. And one did not have to exist without the other. That helping people live better lives, understanding the value and the contribution of our people was a driving force for her to build a dynamic media company. That's what I would want them to say.
And with that being said, what does it mean to you to be Black and powerful?
Oh, wow. Now, I should have known you were going to ask me that, right? What does it mean to me to be Black and powerful? It means that I have a responsibility to make a difference in the world. And not just for, my people or for Black women, but to be a real contributor as a representative of God for allowing me this space. That's what it means. You know, power is impact. You have to be able to impact people. And I hope that I do that. I work on that every day. I get up every day wanting to contribute. Every day.
Well, I thank you for contributing to my time because I've learned something. I've learned something. I got to spend time with a girlfriend I never get to see.
Yes, that's right.
You know,
at church sometimes.
It's sometimes at church.
Yeah.
So when I get there.
That's right.
Online is a beautiful thing.
It really is.
It is. It is.
Thank you for doing this.
Oh, no,
and
I think
thinking
this
of
is
me.
great.
I was so honored.
How do you not?
Oh my goodness, I was so
How do I
honored.
not think of you?
Yeah.
You are an icon. You are a staple and a stable symbol in this city.
Yeah.
If people don't know anything else,
Yeah.
they know you,
Yeah.
and they also know that they can tune to WVON and they gonna hear something.
Yeah.
That may not be what they want to hear. They don't have to
Exactly.
agree.
Right.
That's not what we're trying to do here.
That's right.
It's information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet this is the most fun, black and lovely. What is it? Black and powerful.
That's like hair
This is the
care.
best black and powerful.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's you. You black and powerful. What are you talking about? That's what we're doing.